Cristiano Ronaldo just made history by becoming one of the very few players ever to appear in 6 FIFA World Cups. It should have been a night of celebration for Portugal. It should have been a night about records, legacy, and one of the greatest football careers the world has ever seen. Instead, after Portugal's disappointing 1-1 draw, social media exploded with criticism. Some fans blamed the coach. Some blamed Portugal's tactics, but many pointed their fingers directly at Cristiano Ronaldo. And that raises a serious question. Is Ronaldo really the problem? Or is the football world simply expecting too much from a 41-year-old legend who has already achieved almost everything there is to achieve? The debate has divided football fans across the world. On one side, critics argue that Ronaldo no longer has the pace, mobility, and influence he once had. They believe Portugal should be building the team around younger players and allowing a new generation to take control. On the other side, Ronaldo's supporters argue that blaming one player for an entire team's performance is unfair. They believe Portugal's problems go much deeper than one man, and when you look closely at the match, the truth may be far more complicated than most people realize. Portugal entered the game as clear favorites. With talented players throughout the squad, many expected them to start their World Cup campaign with a comfortable victory. Instead, things did not go according to plan. Portugal struggled to create clear chances. Their attack often looked disconnected. The midfield failed to consistently provide dangerous service into the final third. And despite enjoying large periods of possession, Portugal never truly looked dominant. Ronaldo started the match with huge expectations on his shoulders. After all, this is Cristiano Ronaldo, a player who has spent more than 2 decades proving people wrong, a player who has broken records that many believed would never be touched, a player whose name has become synonymous with winning. But football can be cruel, especially at the World Cup. Every touch is analyzed, every missed opportunity is discussed, every movement is scrutinized by millions of viewers. And when Portugal failed to secure all 3 points, criticism was inevitable. Many fans immediately pointed to Ronaldo's performance. They argued that he wasn't involved enough, that he failed to influence the game, that Portugal looked predictable whenever they tried to attack. Others highlighted moments where Ronaldo appeared frustrated, gesturing toward teammates and showing visible disappointment as chances failed to materialize. For critics, these moments became evidence that Ronaldo is no longer capable of carrying a team on the world's biggest stage. But here's where things become interesting, because when you actually examine Portugal's overall performance, it becomes difficult to place all the blame on one player. Football is a team sport, and Portugal's problems on that night extended far beyond their captain. In fact, some analysts believe Ronaldo may have become the easiest target in a much larger story. And that's exactly where this controversy begins. To understand why Ronaldo is facing so much criticism, we first need to understand one simple reality. Cristiano Ronaldo is no longer the player he was 10 years ago. That statement may sound obvious, but for many football fans, accepting it is incredibly difficult. For nearly 2 decades, Ronaldo has done things that seemed impossible. He scored goals season after season. He dominated the Premier League. He conquered Spain. He won trophies in Italy. He broke international scoring records. And every time critics claimed he was finished, he somehow found a way to prove them wrong. But time is undefeated. Even the greatest athletes in history eventually face the same challenge: age. At 41 years old, Ronaldo was competing against defenders who grew up watching him on television. Think about that for a moment. Some of the players trying to stop Ronaldo today were children when he was winning Ballon d'Or awards. That alone shows how extraordinary his longevity has been. However, it also explains why expectations around him have become so complicated. Many fans still expect Ronaldo to perform like the unstoppable machine they watched in his prime. They expect explosive runs. They expect goals from impossible angles. They expect him to dominate every match. And when that doesn't happen, criticism arrives immediately. Following Portugal's draw, critics pointed to several concerns. The first argument was mobility. Some analysts believe Portugal's attack becomes easier to defend when Ronaldo plays as the central focal point. Modern football is faster than ever. Pressing systems are more aggressive. Defenders are stronger, quicker, and tactically smarter. Because of this, many teams rely on forwards who constantly move, press defenders, and create space for teammates. Critics argue that Ronaldo no longer provides enough of that movement compared to younger attackers. The second criticism involves Portugal's tactical structure. Some fans believe the team changes its style specifically to accommodate Ronaldo. Instead of playing with complete freedom, they argue that Portugal often looks for Ronaldo too frequently in attacking situations. Whether that criticism is fair or not remains a major point of debate, but it is one of the most common complaints being discussed by football fans right now. Then comes the most controversial argument of all. Some people believe Ronaldo's legendary status makes it difficult for coaches to make tough decisions. Think about it. Benching an ordinary player is easy. Benching Cristiano Ronaldo is completely different. You're talking about one of the biggest names in football history, a global icon, a player with millions of supporters around the world. Any decision involving Ronaldo instantly becomes international news. Because of that, critics argue that coaches sometimes face enormous pressure when deciding how to use him. And after Portugal failed to win, those conversations became louder than ever. But here's the part many people ignore. The criticism assumes Portugal would automatically perform better without Ronaldo, and there is very little evidence to prove that. Portugal's problems against DR Congo were not limited to one player. The midfield struggled to consistently create dangerous opportunities. The attack lacked rhythm for long periods. Several players failed to perform at their highest level. Yet, when the final whistle blew, most headlines focused on one name: Cristiano Ronaldo. Why? Because that's what happens when you're a superstar. When the team wins, you receive the praise. When the team struggles, you receive the blame. And no player in world football understands that reality better than Ronaldo himself. But there is another side to this story, a side that many critics are ignoring. Because despite all the accusations, there are strong arguments suggesting Ronaldo may actually be one of Portugal's most important players. And once you look at those arguments, the entire controversy starts to look very different. Now, let's look at the other side of the argument. Because while many people are criticizing Ronaldo, others believe he is being unfairly blamed for problems that go far beyond one player. And honestly, they have a strong case. First, let's remember who Cristiano Ronaldo is. This isn't a player who suddenly appeared yesterday. This is a footballer who has spent more than 20 years performing under pressure that most athletes could never imagine. Every stadium he enters is watching him. Every match he plays becomes a headline. Every mistake is replayed millions of times online. And despite that pressure, he has continued to perform at the highest level for longer than almost anyone in football history. That experience matters, especially at a tournament like the World Cup. Young players may have more speed, they may have more energy, but very few possess Ronaldo's mentality, leadership, and ability to handle pressure. Even now, defenders pay special attention to him. Opponents often assign extra players to mark him. And when that happens, space opens up for other Portuguese attackers. That's something statistics don't always show. Many fans see goals and assists. Coaches often see much more. They see movement. They see positioning. They see the attention a player attracts from defenders. And Ronaldo still commands that attention. The second point is even more important. Portugal's draw was not caused by one moment. It was not caused by one mischance, and it certainly was not caused by one player. Football doesn't work that way. If Portugal failed to control the game, that responsibility belongs to the entire team. If creativity was missing, the midfield must share responsibility. If attacking chances were limited, multiple players must answer questions. Yet because Ronaldo is the biggest name, he becomes the biggest target. And perhaps that's the price of greatness. The bigger your legacy becomes, the higher the expectations grow. For most players, a decent performance is acceptable. For Ronaldo, anything less than brilliance is considered disappointing. That's an impossible standard. And yet it is the standard he has lived with for most of his career. But here's what makes this story fascinating. The criticism may actually create a dangerous situation for Portugal's future opponents. Because if football history has taught us anything, it's this. Cristiano Ronaldo loves proving people wrong. Time and time again, critics have declared him finished, too old, too slow, past his best. And somehow, he has repeatedly found a way to respond. Maybe this time will be different. Or maybe we're witnessing the beginning of another chapter in one of football's greatest careers. Portugal still has important matches ahead. The World Cup is far from over. One great performance can completely change the conversation. One goal can silence thousands of critics. One victory can transform doubt into belief. And that's why writing Ronaldo off right now would be a mistake. Whether you believe he should remain Portugal's main man, or whether you think it's time for a new generation to take over, one thing is undeniable. Cristiano Ronaldo remains one of the most influential figures in world football. The criticism is real. The questions are real. But the story is far from finished. And perhaps the most dangerous thing football fans can do is underestimate a player who has spent his entire career turning doubt into motivation. So what do you think? Are the critics right? Or is Ronaldo being unfairly blamed for Portugal's disappointing draw? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, because this debate is only just beginning.